Hello, my fellow Niner faithful fans. Week 10 in the books. The Niners taking down the Los Angeles Chargers 22-16 and going up to a 5-4 record after having a bye week, which saw them pretty much stay the same. Seventh place in the NFC overall. Even after the win this week, that's where they remain. During that bye week, the Seahawks won, kept the division lead. Rams lost, Cardinals lost. So that helped him out there a bit. Coming into this game, the Chargers certainly banged up on their second and third stringers now for the most part on both sides of the ball. That being said, turned out to still be a tougher game than I think people were expecting. But the Chargers have a lot to play for. They're still a good team, and once their other guys come back, I have no doubt that they'll be back up there competing for stuff. So Niners win the toss, defer, Chargers get a quick touchdown, Niners answer back with a field goal. But then after that, the offense went from being in a relative only first gear, I would even say on that first drive, to being in neutral and essentially going nowhere, along with some mistakes that happened that weren't necessarily, I would say, entirely Niners' fault. Brandon Ayuk's fumble happened to be because he was getting spun around while being tackled, and the helmet happened to knock the ball out. And Wisnowski's punt that got blocked was due to him having to roll the ball over, I guess I should say flip it, because I believe the laces were facing towards his toes before he was going to try to kick that one away, hence the extra second that it took there. Even with those, the Chargers only got a field goal off each one of those mishaps there. The defense held strong. And the offense had a little bit of life coming back towards the end of the first half there. Jimmy G is able to quarterback sneak in for a touchdown there. In this game, though, they luckily got a few guys back. Elijah Mitchell back after it was week 10 this week, so 9 weeks of missing football due to his week 1 injury. Juszczyk came back from his finger issue after getting surgery on it. And then Debo coming back from his hamstring issue. On a side note, their bye week wasn't fully unscathed, though. Jason Verrett is now on IR for the rest of the year. Hopefully he's able to come back next year. Wish him all the best there. Coming into the second half, though, that was pretty much it. It was a 16-10 end of the first half. In the second half, the Chargers never would score again. Niners definitely took over the game a bit more. Christian McCaffrey, touchdown, a few punts from Robbie Gould. He missed an extra point, hence why it was 22 points, not 23. Not a whole lot to say in the second half, I guess. I mean, they did their job. They got to Herbert, sacks. They had a great job of pinning them back. Wisnowski had a great punt to pin them back at their 1 yard line there after it got downed, and that resulted in a 3-and-out, I believe. And then on the Chargers' final possession there, Obukam ends up not Obukam, sorry, I forget right now, apologies, but Herbert ends up getting hit in the arm there, ends up throwing the pass off there trajectory wise, and Hufanga just comes in, gets the interception. That seals the game there at that point. Running wise, Elijah Mitchell, good comeback. It was great to see him back. Him and McCaffrey split the carries. He definitely did a better job with his running routes. McCaffrey got stuffed a little bit and stymied during most of the game. The passing game wasn't really there this game. I guess it didn't really have to be because the Chargers weren't very good against the run. Ayuk was the most targeted guy, had the most yards, I believe, around 84. Kittle, only a couple targets. Debo the same way. Jennings, I think, had a few there too, but the passing game wasn't fully there. This offense, I know I mentioned they went from first gear to neutral in the first half. Even in the second half, if you're talking going up in gears, you might have been at third gear at the most for a couple of plays. They certainly could have been a little more high octane. That being said, Jimmy played fine. He didn't commit any turnovers. It's perfectly fine. I think everyone knows that as long as nothing bad happens with him and the O-line holds up, the team can be competent enough on offense to be able to handle stuff, along with support from the defense being able to stop any offense that comes at them. Uh, only thing that needs to be addressed is that I think most Niner fans are going to be wondering, and most fans who watch the game, Greenlaw's ejection from the game, helmet-to-helmet hit on Herbert. And, I get the penalty. I know Herbert got hit, and it kind of changed where Greenlaw was going to hit him as a result. But still, you do need to be in control of your actions as best as you can be, even if circumstances happen to get in the way and change what could potentially happen. I think that's true for any sport, I believe. So the penalty, I understand, 15-yard penalty, okay, fine. The ejection, though, I'm not sure what New York was looking at. It was not egregious. It was not malicious. I know it has to be a reaction to what happened to Tua earlier this year, which I can understand it, but I think that they're becoming a little too conscious now about it. What happened to Tua was awful, and what happened later on with him was even worse. Well, the Dolphins did, but that's a different story. But I didn't see anything that to me would eject Greenlaw out of the game there. I think it was an unintentional helmet hit. Once again, penalty, fine. Ejection, not so much. Elsewhere, though, Niners got quite a bit of help around the league, at least divisional-wise. Earlier that day over in Germany, Tom Brady and the Bucs beat the Seahawks, and the Cardinals beat the Rams. Rams now 3-6. I think they might have lost Cooper Kupp now. I think it's a high ankle sprain due to his injury. Great guy, great player. Hope he recovers soon enough there. But that certainly puts the Niners now in second place in the division pretty handily, and they're only a half game back now on Seattle, who has a bye this week. They still stay in seventh place, like I mentioned earlier, in the conference. That's just due to the juggernaut East right now. You do have Washington, I believe, a game behind them right now, as they are. Oh no, they're 5-5 now, so they're a half game back because they haven't had their bye week yet. So the Niners do have to pay attention to who's behind them. The plus side, though, is they could easily take the division here, I believe, and I think they will. Their schedule upcoming here. You still have 2 games against the Cardinals, divisional opponent. You can never count on a divisional opponent. A game against Seattle, in Seattle, especially with Seattle now not being the team they played during week 2. They look a lot better now. And then the other two tough games you might have are going to be against the Dolphins and the Bucs, potentially. Other than that, I think they have an easy one to the Raiders. And there was one other one that's and the Saints. And the Saints look like they could probably beat that too. So it's not a very challenging schedule for the remainder of the year. So I think that this team has the capability now of easily winning the division, shooting for the top of the NFC. Probably not going to happen. 3rd seed, potentially 3rd or 4th seed, depending on what the NFC South champion wants to do. But next up is the Cardinals Monday Night Football in Mexico City. So going to be a fun game to watch there. Like I mentioned just a few moments ago, it's a divisional game. The Cardinals always know how to give the Niners one of those games every year where Kyler Murray just pulls out cheat codes and just wants to be able to do everything he can against the Niners, who can't seem to stop a scrambling quarterback. That being said, I think they can do it. They definitely can. The tools are all there now. The guys that were injured all came back, and the second half of this schedule doesn't look too challenging for them. So it was a good start of the second half. I look forward to seeing plenty more Niner football coming up, and I look forward to recapping it every week and getting in touch with you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks.